what maybe you can be giving a brief story or history about the Federation and some of the activities that are on, such that people here, even those that have not been interested in the Federation of Uganda Medical Students, can better understand it and what it does for the medical students in Uganda. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, like Ralph mentioned earlier, FUMSA is the federation of organization that brings together all medical students associations from across the country. So all medical schools are part of this association. The very first member was MUMSA, which is Makerere, but we have a number of medical schools that have been coming up, and they are now also members. Yes, we have the executive board, we have the normal members of the association, and we have a number of activities that happen throughout the year. We have general assemblies, we have the camp. Yes, the general assemblies, we have one in April, then we have one in October. And the camps, we have one camp every year. We choose a region and we go and we partner with different people, different pharmaceutical companies to carry out these camps. The one for this year is going to be in Tungamo. I think if you're in the FUMSA group or if you've been following our socials, you've been seeing that it's the one that's in the run. Yeah. It's going to be in Tungamo. You pay 70,000. It's a chance for you to network with medical students from all over the country, get to know the different people, give back to community, get a chance to practice what you've been studying at school and be exposed. Yes, we also have a medical quiz that happens in Feb or March, and this year's was hosted at Uganda Christian University in Mukono. Yes. Basically, if you are in your medical school, make sure that you are active in your MSF so that you can get a chance to attend these FUMSA events. And FUMSA opens you up to a number of other organizations. For example, the IFMSA, which is the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, that brings together now all the associations from around the world. And they have various activities that are always going on under the different standing committees. Yes, and currently, what's coming up is the GA, the General Assembly in Kazakhstan. You can have a chance to attend online or physically, depending on what you want. And it's a chance for you to meet various people, dignitaries from all over. And if you involve yourself in the activities of the IFMSA, you have a chance to attend meetings of the UN, meetings of the World Health Organization. Like very many opportunities are presented to you through the association. So it is my prayer that you can consider being more active, consider taking up the various opportunities that these different associations are presenting to you. Yes. Thank you. Maybe Amon can add something.
Okay, thank you, VPE. I'm still trying to reach Dr. Ronnie, but he says we just still be patient, which I think we take positively. Besides everything, the Federation is a point of advocacy for medical students. That is, its main goal is not actually only those activities, but advocacy for medical students in the country. That's why we combine all the medical associations of medical schools and every issues that come along, including like this challenge of internship policy and all other that are always coming. We have a unifying platform to put them out. FUMSA is under patronage of Uganda Medical Association, that guides us in each and everything that we do in consultation with the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns and other bodies that are related to medicine. So with that, I think I would like to implore most students in the country to know what really is taking place within our different associations and support them, because it is where we combine the efforts to fight for our rights as medical students. Otherwise, I would like to first get off and get back to Dr. Ronnie and get another feedback as we wait on him. Thank you.
My hand is up. Can I say something? Please do, Doctor. Thank you so much. What we're doing now in Nyanko is called Mahisa Nyungu. When you are waiting for the pot to boil, whether it's a pot of very dry beans or, or very dry maize or a pot of meat, you tell stories, you talk as you wait for the meat to boil or the food to boil. So I don't mind also throwing in one or two aspects of Uganda Medical Association. But suffice to say, this meeting does not start until Dr. Ronnie comes and speaks. Until the Minister of Health comes and tells us, we are here just chit-chatting and talking to each other. The meeting will only start then. And if they don't come, we will postpone, and whatever date they will give us, we will come again and wait for them until they come out of their hiding and speak. Okay, let me first get out of my angry mode. Now, Uganda Medical Association, as has been alluded to, is the patron of Federation of Uganda Medical Students Association. If you could imagine a pyramid, the medical students are the people who are now destined to become doctors. They form our basis, our baseline. And you know, when you're drawing a pyramid, you can cut at any level and you still have the shape of the pyramid. So you can have a wider base, you can make the base even wider, you can have a narrower base, but it's a pyramid. So you begin with the Federation of Uganda Medical Students Associations. Then you go the Federation of Interns, okay, that is much smaller, a bit smaller. Then you go to the Uganda Medical Association. I just want to implore us to appreciate the power of associations. I believe the situation we're in now, we should make us appreciate what an association is, can do, potentially and otherwise. I can assure you, when you have a problem and there's no one who rallies for your cause, you will feel very lonely. And that problem, you might be able to solve it, but it will be very hard. It will be solved in a hard way. But when you are able to come together, leverage your strength, leverage your connection, leverage your, your different talents. Amongst you, I've seen people who have the ability to speak. Again, I'm yet to understand Ralph. Ralph was speaking very well, that I kept thinking he was the commissioner at the Ministry of Health. So I don't know who Ralph is, but you, man, you are destined for big things. That is the power of association. One time, again, we're calling him Dr. Amon, wrote a letter, and I was wowed at the quality and the depth of that communication. So we've got abilities which you can leverage at different times. So I implore you that not only should we run to these associations when we need them, and when we think we don't need them, we let them hang and dry, because it's the proverbial cow from which you want milk, and you only want to come and dive in its teats and milk the cow, forgetting that before that you should have pampered it. For us, when we are milking our cows, you sing nice songs, you talk to the cow, not knowing that before that you should have fed it and watered it, not knowing that before that you should have vaccinated it against diseases, you should have treated it when it was sick. So there's a lot that you must do to that cow before the time you come to actually milk it. So the first point I want to make is that we need to treasure these associations, especially in the times when we think we don't quite need them, when there is no apparent need. When they're talking about a camp and you're like, those guys, I think they have too much time on their hands. When they're talking about an AGM, you say, those guys, they're just politicking. Those are the times that you need to rally with these associations, be part of them. Of course, the elephant in the room, collect funds, pay your dues, so that these organizations can exist, have a secretariat, have a stamp, have ink for a stamp, have a ream of paper, be able to communicate, be able to send its representatives wherever they're sending it. We must build associations. So FUMSA moves into FUMI, and FUMI now builds the foundation also for Uganda Medical Association. I want to sell to you one proposition that we are making, and my vice president will tell you that we mooted the idea but didn't get enough traction. We want to widen our base even further. And I want to address something which was mentioned. I had the tail end of it, but I've seen it in the comments. Someone was talking about entry points at university, and I think it may not have rubbed some people the right way. I want to address that. But let me approach it from this angle. I want us to widen our base beyond the medical students. Please, whenever Dr. Ronnie comes, someone stop me. I'm just Mahisa Nyunguing, okay? Is that okay, host? Mr. Samsung, SM. Okay. Dr. Amon, as soon as Dr. Ronnie comes, you tell me to stop, eh?
It's all right.
Okay, thank you. So we wanted to reach out to our biology students at HSC, okay? People who are doing biology. From them, we're definitely going to get the doctors. From them, we're going to get the clinical officers. From them, we're going to get the nurses. From them, we're going to get the more biology teachers. From them, we're going to get zoologists. From them, we're going to get the scientists in the biology angle that we all are part of. I had wanted us, as Uganda Medical Association, to create a second tier of associate members, okay? Where that tier is the one of the biology students at HSC. And I had wanted us to execute this mandate through FUMSA. I don't know which school Amon went to, but if I sent Amon to his former school, first of all, he'll want to come and walk in with his swag that you guys, I was part of this school and I have made it. That alone is a huge motivation for the biology class. Know that one of us has made it to university. Even if you don't say many things, by just appearing, that's a huge, 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 huge motivation. Two, by doing that, by making them associate members of Uganda Medical Association, you are creating allies. So even if someone never makes it to medicine, to medical school, but makes it to agriculture, makes it to veterinary medicine, makes it to nursing, makes it to any other, which is not MBCHB, in that person you have an ally, because while they were struggling with biology, chemistry, and whatever else they did, and mathematics or physics, you showed up, you encouraged them, you motivated them. So I would like to throw this to you, that even if it never flies, during my time as president, I would like to sow a seed that it is possible for us to widen our base even further and create an association of biology students at HSC. And this only lasts 2 years. Finally, as we boil this pot and wait for Dr. Ronnie, I would like to appeal to you to be active in FUMSA, which I've already said. But whatever you want us to do for you as Uganda Medical Association, please pass it on to your executive, Fortunately, Amon, or the president of FUMSA, sits on our NGC, that's our parliament, and any issue that we discuss, he has got an equal voice with any member of the NGC. With those few remarks, I am eagerly waiting to hear how this draconian, shambolic policy was coined and who they are trying to address and how we can go around it. I thank you.
Dr. Brian, Dr. Brian, you may need to mute. I don't know. All right. There was a question here that was directed to Dr. Frank as we await for the president of the ministry representatives. How we needed there was something about collaboration with the other health professionals, because as we all know that it's not just the doctors. We do have the nurses, the midwives, the pharmacists, and the laboratory technicians and all. Now we do have those people, and there is still a failure of collaboration in between the different professions. And this is also finding us at a point where we need a united front when presenting our issues to, let's say, the ministry or to the government. Do we have a solution on board? Are we looking forward to collaboration? They need your input on this, Dr. President.
Right, thank you very much. That's a very good point. We need each other. The more the merrier, the more diverse, the greater the strength. Yes, we need them. And if we can talk specifically about this issue, we began at a very good footing. For those of you who participated in the press conference that we had the nurses, they were represented and they read a statement. We had the pharmacists, they read a statement. And of course, FUMSA read a statement. We had FUMI, they read a statement. And again, Uganda Medical Association. Would one take this further? And the best positioned association is actually FUMI. Because for FUMI, it doesn't only bring together the doctors. It brings together all the health workers who do internship, the nurses, the pharmacists, and the doctors. So yes, we need each other. And I will let you know that at the time that we were chasing for this, Dr. Amon, you better finish quickly and you call you doctor properly. But Amon, when we were chasing for this elusive policy, the document, I was in the same, I was in a goose chase together with Dr. Lutoti, and we were strategizing on how to storm the meeting in Jinja, how to get the document. We were talking and we were talking. So we need to come together. But the few times we've engaged the pharmacists, they come with us up to a certain distance and then they seem to withdraw. I'm not sure what the problem might be, but I'm not the kind who elevates problems. I want to dwell on solutions. So the answer is yes, we need them. And going forward, I would request that FUMSA brings on board the other medical students, the other students associations. For the pharmacists, I know there's one, and for the nurses, they didn't bring them on board. I think somehow when they talked of 6 years instead of 5 years, some associations thought they were now talking about the MBCHB students only, and they seem to have developed cold feet. But as we rally ourselves, we need to rally all these troops and get on board. I want to thank Dr. Amon again because he created a WhatsApp group for all the presidents, and we are there. The pharmacists are there, the nurses are there, the FUMI is there, the FUMSA is there, and there's a WhatsApp group. So we need each other, and we are definitely going to take this on together because we are all affected. And that's why partly I want to listen to what Minister of Health is saying. Who is affected? It's also not yet clear. Is it just the MBCHB people? Is it all the people who are doing nursing? Are you saying that even the nurses who do a national exam are not going to get their certificates until they finish the internship? It's all not clear, and maybe that's part of the strategy. But I can assure you, my hope, my confidence, let me even say my confidence, is in the fact that this was shambolically prepared and it cannot take off. It is dead on arrival. I've said this again. I have failed for the last 3 months or so when this thing came out. I have failed to get better words other than to say it is draconian because it was aimed at taking away the livelihood of interns, period. And I beg to submit that that is my opinion, and I may be very wrong. I would like Dr. Ronnie and Minister of Health come and prove me wrong. The whole aim, forget about quality. Now you're forcing me to say things I wanted to reserve for later. Forget about quality, forget about all those are just jumbled up. But the whole aim is to dodge the responsibility of paying interns, period. And because of that, they jumbled up so many things. So because it was so shambolically prepared, and because its intentions are so draconian, it is dead on arrival. It's not going to take off, whatever they try to do. But I may be very wrong, and I admit wrong. I would like to hear what this policy is all about, how it was coined, what it's trying to address. But going back to where I started, we need all hands on deck. We'll need all hands on deck to try and address this policy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. You know, as personally, when we're being rather negative, it's against all hopes that we are being right or wrong. We prefer to be wrong in such cases when we're negative about
No, I
things.
just want to do
I believe this is Dr. Joseph. Oh, wait.
Only one person.
Our dear FUMSA, Fumi Vice President, requesting that you may mute.
All right, as I had previously mentioned, we're hoping that we are wrong, especially when we're being negative, and that is why we are still awaiting the ministry to come and clarify, because a lot of these things have been sounding off. A lot of our sources that we have been getting these things from, especially with the rationale, we have been fishing them from newspaper articles, from Twitter, of all places where you could find a hub of all information, true and false. So we prefer to get this straight from the brainchild. And this is why we are awaiting. Do we have the ministry members report with us before we can start? The questions have been put forward. There are really a lot of concerns, especially in this chat. Our planned panelists that is supposed to be remaining with us, we have 66.67% of our panelists on board. The other 33.3 is Dr. Ronnie. And Dr. Ronnie is the Commissioner of Clinical Services at the Ministry of Health. I believe he's one of the people who deeply understand this policy and is very ready to let us know. Actually, any one of us was present in the previous meeting on Thursday. We do remember that he spoke. However much he did have, he said he had glitches, but he also said he spoke for 45 minutes, just introducing the policy. So we are ready. So we are ready to be present for him. Let the questions come in. We shall be. Okay. I believe someone is saying that I am not audible. We are going to be preparing for him. The questions be coming in the chat box. Let them come in the chat box, and we shall be awaiting. We shall be presenting them to the necessary people. If you have a question for Dr. Frank, if you have a question for Amon, if you even have a question for Dr. Jacob, the president of PUMI, and about what he has in plan for this, the chance is now to get in the chat box and we get forward. Otherwise, we still await the ministry. Mr. President Amon.
Yes, please.
Is Dr. Ronnie on board with us?
I've seen he has been on a call, but he has read my message. I don't know if he has joined. I'm trying to check if he has joined.
How about Dr. Michael? Is he willing to say hi? Because you see, meetings like this, we're supposed to have a dialogue. It is between two parties or more. So if we do not have this, we're basically rambling, and we have spoken within ourselves. As Dr. Frank has said, you can't keep on preaching to the choir. These are people who have been singing the same things. So let us try and look for audience from the new person, from the person who understands the rationale and what problems exactly this policy is going to solve, which problems that have been pre-existing that are going to be solved, and if there are any rising issues, how are these going to be tackled? Because if you've looked at the situation of internship, the situation of internship as it stands, if this policy is to be cemented and to go through, that means the graduation is going to be after internship. Internship is a requirement for graduation. What does this mean? If you didn't want to do clinical practice after graduation, you will still have to do clinical practice in order to avoid doing clinical practice. And if you wanted to avoid and branch out, still you have to go through there. And so until you are deployed, that is one, and that is after passing the pre-internship examination 2 before deployment, and then finishing your internship, that is when you can finally get your degree. Yes? And that is one of the biggest issues. And on top of that, while you're going through it, you do not know how you're going to be facilitated as an intern. Previously, the government has been decrying the lack of money to be present for the interns, the medical interns. However much we have been seeing money moving in other places, but for the medical interns, it has been a bit of a struggle. That it used to be 2.5 million at one point, and then it drastically reduced to less than half. It's now 1 million, and still, even then, we still have delays here and there. But the advantage is that the interns still had something to look forward to, regardless of where they came from, as long as they were being deployed in the government facilities where they're being trained, right? But now everything is going to be hanging. We know that medical students, the large percentage of them are actually private. They're paying for themselves. We have 6 public universities that are training in medicine and surgery. And of those 6, at least half are doing private sponsorship. Couple that with the other 8 universities that might be doing medicine outside to make the 14, and all those are private students. So now all those people are going to be fending for themselves. And that is what we are trying to see. We're trying to tackle these questions. And then a large number, a tiny number, not a very big number, but still a significant number, are foreign students, people who have come from outside, or people who want to do from outside. What is the plan for them? And that is why we are here. Hopefully, we do have Dr. Ronnie on board finally, and we can carry this discussion much further. He did give us 1 hour previously, but we have given him the 1 hour now. We await him.
Well, good evening. Can everyone hear me? Can someone confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, Dr. Ronnie, Commissioner of Clinical
Dr. Ronnie,
Services
you
at
are
Ministry of Health.
clear.
We have been
Hear you very
awaiting
well.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for arriving. We can hear you.
I'm sorry I'm joining in a little late. I thought by now I would be done with the day's assignments, but we had another meeting that was running and dragged, at which I was very critical because I was providing updates from what we have in the Ebola treatment units. Colleagues, I must bring this to our attention that the country is currently responding to the Ebola virus disease outbreak. And Ebola is real. We all must be seen to take keen care of ourselves. There are precautions that have been issued by the Ministry of Health, to which all of us as healthcare providers must abide by. The reason I say this is the trend that we are seeing is the people that are affected by this outbreak so far are the people that traveled from Congo to Uganda seeking better care, and those that have been infected from within or on Ugandan soil have been those that have been healthcare providers caring for those that came from Congo, meaning that as healthcare providers, we are highest at risk, and that means we need to take close caution when we are caring for patients. A case definition has been issued by the Ministry of Health. I kindly request that all of us interest ourselves in that document. We go read it and put it before our eyes each and every time we're going to be interacting with patients. That's what is going to help and guide us in our screening and risk stratification of the patients that we're going to be seeing, so that we can keep ourselves safe from this so we have prescribed infection prevention and control precautions or procedures that we must be able to adhere to. And I urge all of us to interest ourselves in those precautions that are expected of us as healthcare providers. If you're going to be examining patients, ensure that you use appropriate PPE, including examination gloves, to examine patients, even when we're going to be doing simple procedures. That's the practice, that's the standard that we must be observing, but many a time we do not observe these standards. And that's the reason why, because of those breaches, we find ourselves exposed to such highly infectious diseases. Be on the lookout. It can be your spouse, it can be your parent, it can be your sibling, it can be your child. If anyone around you develops any signs and symptoms consistent with Ebola virus disease, do not hesitate to report, even if that person is close to you, because you failing to report means exacerbating the challenge by allowing the disease to penetrate further into the population. Remember, each and every time you do not report, you are exposing all those that are around you by way of contact. And contact can be both in terms of person to person or person to an infected or contaminated surface. As long as that surface has got body fluids that have potent virus, that person will get exposed or that person will get infected. So let us observe these principles and ensure that we keep appropriate PPE usage at each and every time when we're going to be examining patients. Wash your hands in between patients when you're going to leave the hospital to ensure that you are not passing on the virus from one patient onto another. And ensure that each and every time you are in a crowded place, you observe your distance so that you do not mix up or you do not get into contact with those others that are around you. As is the practice, every time a case or a positive person is found from amongst a community, all those that were around them become listed as contacts, and contacts are categorized from high risk to low risk, depending on what exactly the exposure level was between the patient and yourself that would be in that community. And the criteria for management is every person that meets the case definition for a confirmed case, any person that meets the case definition for a suspect case, those two are kept under the isolation treatment facility. Currently, we have this at Mulago with an extension in the Mulago field and Entebbe, plus across the country, especially along the borderline from Yumbe up to Kisoro. In a nutshell, I just needed to bring this information to our fore so that we can know what exactly we are dealing with. I can take any questions at this point in time before we can dive into matters of medical internship, if there are any.
Mumbele, kindly mute your microphone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ronnie, for coming to join us to explain to us the policy and also giving us about how we can calm down and go away with Ebola. As asked by Dr. Ronnie, in case there is anyone that has any question related to Ebola, kind of raise it before we go forward to the internship policy. And in case we don't have, then I would request Dr. Ronnie to kindly take us through and explain, tell us about the internship policy, because we have very many representatives here from all over the universities that would like to understand details within the internship policy. Later, we shall have questions from the students themselves. We also have Uganda Medical Association, the president, Dr. Frank, and the rest of the team. And Fumi president is also around. So Dr. Ronnie, in case anyone has a question for Ebola, they're going to raise it. And if we don't have it, we could proceed to the policy. Thank you. Raf, I request that you kindly take on and pick like 2 to 3 questions on Ebola, present them to Dr. Ronnie, and then we can proceed to the internship policy.
Anyway, thank you everyone for getting back on board with us. Now, Ebola has been a real thing. Previously it was a battle between the ministry and government who are saying it's real or not, but everyone has come to a consensus to say it's real. And yeah, the SOPs are there. But one thing that the students were asking, this is something that, yes, they want to be part of this fight. I have seen a number of them get engaged on Twitter and saying that, well, this could be a chance to offer services because Ebola has reached us. There is no running away from it. As we know that there are cases maybe in the teaching hospital where the students were going to even be reading from much less than clerking. But now if they can get a bit of hands-on experience, obviously under guidance with all the PPEs, is there a way for them to join this fight, to take part and maybe offer a bit of service to this? And that aside, maybe a bit of clarification on the gatherings and what is going to be banned for how long, because I know there are restrictions that have been imposed recently. Just a bit of that, and we shall be diving into the policy very, very quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ralph. And maybe just to redeem time, I know we've been on the call for about 45 minutes before I joined, and I'm going to kindly request that we keep this meeting to strictly 1 hour. We started at 7:45. By 8:45, I will be signing out. So, as is the consensus from the bulk of the people here, we will dive straight into the medical internship, National Education and Training for Health Policy, which covers medical internship. I would wish to take us back to the history of how this National Education and Training for Health Policy came to be or came about. In the year 2022, 2023, the Ministry of Health are desperate to develop a national internship policy to guide medical internship in the country, developed a policy document and presented it to Cabinet, which carries the mandate to approve policies in this country. And during the Cabinet sitting, it was discovered that the bulk of the principles in the policy that was presented by the Minister of Health are hinged on medical education and training and less of practice. And at that point in time, Cabinet took a unanimous decision to ask the team that was presenting the policy to take a step back and integrate the aspects of medical internship into a full spectrum cycle of education and training of a healthcare provider. And that would mean that the mandate of developing the policy would shift from the Ministry of Health and move to the Ministry of Education and Sports, which carries the mandate of education and training in the country, except for specialized workforces like we see under the armed forces or the prisons services under the Uganda Police Force. What did that mean? That where initially we had, and maybe just to throw a little more history about this, is in the past until the late 90s, education and training for health was domiciled under the Ministry of Health. But through rationalization, all education and training mandates across the country were moved and consolidated under the Ministry of Education and Sports. That's the reason why we have 3 sections, the lower section, the higher section, and the tertiary section. So when this mandate was moved to the Ministry of Education and Sports, that meant that the Ministry of Health became a collaborator in the development process of the policy. A collaborator, but one that could not be wished away, meaning that at the end of the day, the Ministry of Education and Sports was asked to co-develop the education and training for health policy with the Ministry of Health, who is the consumer of the products that come from the education and training cycle under the Ministry of Education and Sports, as opposed to what used to previously happen, where we were having as opposed to the past where we used to have Ralph, can you confirm that you still can hear me? I got a call disruption.
All right, you are breaking up a bit, but we can hear you. We can hear you now.
So, in attempting to streamline all this, the mandate came to the Ministry of Education and Sports to develop this policy together or in collaboration with the Ministry of Health under the Interministerial Standing Coordination Committee of the Human Capital Development Program. The Ministry of Health and Education together with Labor, Gender and Social Development, as well as Water and Environment, fall under one program in the program-based planning and budget implementation of government in the current system. So the Ministry of Education and Sports has been having other streams of education and training for health that were not eligible for medical internship except the graduate trainees. And that meant that we had to have one comprehensive policy that speaks the language of the whole entire continuum of education and training of a healthcare provider for both allied health, nursing and midwifery of all the different cadres or levels, and then the doctors, that is the MBCHBs, as well as dentistry, then the pharmacists and the graduate nurses and midwives. So this policy was developed together with the Ministry of Education, with the Ministry of Health coming in as the key stakeholder, because we are the consumers of the products that come of the Ministry of Education and Sports. And that meant that the Ministry of Education and Sports took lead in the development of this policy, because they are the policy holders on education and training in the country. Generic statements that constitute what we call a policy were developed through a widely consultative process that had back and forth engagements with all key stakeholders. And I would wish to take this opportunity at this point in time to dispel any claims by the Uganda Medical Association that they were never consulted. I can confirm with utmost clarity that the Uganda Medical Association was consulted, because its two previous past presidents attended the consultative meetings, especially those two that happened at a Sela Hotel in Wakiso. This process was widely consultative, and a final decision was taken after the two ministries agreed on the key principles. These principles were packaged in what we call a cabinet memo, which was presented by the Ministry of Education and Sports together or in the presence of the Ministry of Health as co-implementers of the policy, and the cabinet sitting of 6th of October 2025 approved and adopted the resolutions that made the National Education and Training for Health Policy a document that stood by the government of Uganda. To guide the implementation of the policy department of the Ministry of Education went ahead and put in place a mechanism to develop standards that will guide the implementation of the policy and to ensure that these standards were enforceable, guidelines were developed, and all these three documents were packaged into one that now constitutes what we call the National Education and Training for Health policy. What are the key principles that pertain to what we are discussing here today? I've tried to listen in. I tried listening in on Tuesday, I think Tuesday, when we had a connection challenge, and I've also tried to listen in at this point in time. I would wish to make a few clarifications and try and clear some myths. One, in the education and training cycle, previously what we used to have was universities that are under the Ministry of Education and Sports conducted formative training of a health trainee and graduated this person, and then later on passed this trainee or this person that has graduated to the Ministry of Health, so that the Ministry of Health can proceed with refining this product and prepare the product for practice. But we observed that there were so many ills that had started happening because of the so many universities that we were having, and because of the unregulated entry and ill training principles or observation of principles in education and training institutions. And that meant that some people that were not eligible to undertake some of the courses had started making way into these courses. And it was starting to present a very big challenge, a very big dilemma that I'm going to present to us here, and we all digest together and see how best we can resolve it. Education and training under the universities or through the universities would train a person. I'll use the example of doctors. And upon graduation, they would confer unto you the title doctor. After that, you'd be passed to the Ministry of Health that would subject you to 1 year rigorous training deemed or termed medical internship. The challenge that we have encountered over the years, especially in the past 4 years, has been after people have graduated, that means they've left the universities and the universities are no longer responsible for them. They've been passed on to the Ministry of Health, which is supposed to refine them, and therefore, after they have been refined, provide them with full registration and licensure to practice, would undertake the rigorous training through medical internship. This person, if they failed medical internship, they would find themselves in a no man's zone, because education would have completed their job and graduated you and conferred unto you a degree. Health cannot register and license a person that has failed medical internship, but you already carry the title doctor, but you belong nowhere. So what happens to that person? The numbers had started growing. Right now, we are at 8 people that are in that category, where they have been given opportunities at 3 separate different medical internship training centers, and they have been found untrainable by 3 sets of different supervisors, meaning that they belong nowhere. And that means that they become a danger to society, because only then, when a person has completed their cycle of training, do they get registered and licensed to practice. So in an attempt to cure that lacuna, it was discussed extensively and agreed that universities that are training have got to carry an element of responsibility for the ills that they are contributing to this whole entire ecosystem. That means that a person will only graduate after they have been subjected to medical internship, meaning that both health and education are now going to be co-implementers of the life cycle of education and training of a healthcare provider in this country. Right from entry, education will have to observe the minimum entry requirements that have been prescribed. And the expectation is throughout the education and training cycle, the moment you say, I feel this person has completed their formative time of training and they are fit to cross over the bridge to practice, of which medical internship is that 1 year of rigorous refining, which provides a bridge between theory and practice, then you are passed to health, where health is supposed to subject you to 1 year of rigorous training. And if you are found to be fit to cross over to the practice space, communication will be provided unto your university that candidate A has satisfied the medical internship requirement and therefore is fit to cross over to practice. You will go ahead and be graduated, and in the same sitting, you will be registered and provided with your full licensure. In this period of time, when the universities will have completed the training, the universities will be required to compile lists of all the people that have potentially passed their exams the same way it happens right now. The names will be compiled and they'll be sent to the respective professional councils. The doctors will go to the Uganda Medical and Dental Practitioners Council. The graduate nurses will go to the Uganda Nurses and Midwives Council, and the pharmacists will go to the Uganda Pharmacy Board. Those boards, those councils will issue provisional licenses. Those provisional licenses will be your document that you present to the Ministry of Health, and there will be random distribution of all the candidates across the medical internship centers that we have in the country. And as interns, you will be required to go and perform your interns duties. And there will be assessments, formal assessments that have been arranged and agreed upon by the two ministries, that is education and health, where these interns will be assessed at each and every completion of a rotation. And when you complete a rotation and you've satisfied the assessors, you'll cross over to the next rotation until you are able to complete all the 4 disciplines. And at that point in time, health will compile the list of all those that have satisfied that requirement back to your training universities, and the universities will graduate you. And after graduating you, the professional councils will issue you full registration and licensure. The process of medical internship will be an integrated activity between education and health. And in there, we will also have the National Council for Higher Education that is responsible for accreditation of universities and other tertiary training institutions in the country, participating in accreditation of a facility as an internship training center, meaning that the whole entire cycle will be participatory for all the 3 key stakeholders. The university that should take interest in making sure that its candidates pass those rotations, and upon assessment, they are fit. The National Council for Higher Education that will participate in the accreditation of the internship training centers, meaning that an internship training center must meet its basic minimum requirement. And in there, we have both infrastructure, equipment, and patient load. And then we have the Ministry of Health that will use its professional doctors to conduct the supervision and assessment of these interns before they complete the process of internship and they cross over to the practice space. What else has the policy clarified or provided for? For us to be able to have medical internship training centers that satisfy that requirement, the policy requires the Ministry of Health working with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and then the Ministry of Public Service to avail wage so that supervisors are recruited and positioned or deployed in the hospitals up to General Hospital, where we have a patient load that is satisfactory to training of a medical intern. And this means that we will be seeing more people or more recruitments happening up to general hospitals. And this is consistent with the human resource structures that were developed and approved by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Service, where we have up to General Hospital for specialized services. The other clarification that the policy makes is about the facilitation or the welfare of a medical intern and the medical student. As opposed to what used to happen then, this time around, what the policy is calling for is if government has been facilitating you during your formative training, then government will continue facilitating you or supporting you during your internship. And as opposed to the myth that people have always indicated that they're going to be required to pay, during internship, you do not pay any money. During your formative training, you pay tuition, you pay user fees. Here, you do not pay anything. It is the government's responsibility to make sure that it has availed a conducive training environment so that as many people can be trained comfortably in those areas to deliver quality amongst the healthcare providers. So the expectation is when you are undertaking internship, you will require, government will provide facilitation for accommodation, meals, and transport, especially for those interns that will be at hospitals that do not have interns messes or accommodation, and those hospitals that do not provide meals for its doctors. The bulk of the hospitals across the country offer that service, but it's just that the number that we have been deploying across the board would many a time surpass the carrying capacities of these hospitals. And that's the reason why you'd find many people missing out on the original planned interns messes and having to rent outside of the facilities. And advantageously, this was also manifesting in the compromised quality of the trainees or the interns that we have been seeing or that we have been producing or getting, because many of the interns were not getting sufficient exposure to the practical disciplines that they must be able to undertake for them to be refined during that 1 year of rigorous exposure. So the government, through this policy, requires that the Minister of Health works with the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, together with the Minister of Public Service, to expand the internship training centers so that only those interns as per the current capacity of the hospital shall be deployed to each and every hospital to reduce the crowding that we have been experiencing at the different hospitals so that we can be able to uplift the quality of training of medical doctors, pharmacists, and graduate nurses and midwives. If you have been supporting yourself by whichever means, through your guardian, through your parent, through loan schemes and everything else, the expectation that has been clarified in this policy is that you will continue supporting yourself with meals, accommodation, and transport, especially if you're at a hospital that does not offer those services. Why did government take this decision? When you look at our National Development Plan 4, it speaks to specialization. When you look at the National Health Sector Strategic Plan, it speaks to specialization, and this intent was very well expressed. This intent was very well expressed in the Human Resources for Health that were developed in the year 2023 as approved by the Ministry of Public Service. Can people be muted?
Sorry, my people. Let me mute, sorry.
Okay. All right. So the expectation would be that people will be expected to support themselves during that internship exercise. And this is as a result of the change of priorities by government, where it was observed that we have so many people that have gotten the basic training in medicine, in nursing, in midwifery, in pharmacy, but we lack the super specialized skill sets when it comes to specialized services. When it comes to midwifery, when it comes to nursing, we lack the different specialized care nurses, be it critical care, be it pediatrics, be it oncology, any of those nurses. When it comes to medicine, we have so many generalists as compared to specialists, and that's what was premised upon to change priorities, and more resources were channeled toward specialization as opposed to basic training. And government retained a basic number of people that it will be supporting upon formative training and all through the whole entire training cycle through medical internship. So what this requires of a person that is going to be undertaking medical internship, medical training, people should know that if you're going to support a child through medical training, the process does not end at the completion of the formative 5 years, but rather at the end of medical internship. The difference will be during education and training, you'll be paying tuition, you'll be paying accommodation, you'll be paying everything. But during internship, you'll only be facilitating this child or this trainee or this intern with meals, accommodation, and transport if those are not provided by the hospital where these people will be doing their internship from. I saw a question here that was indicating that if government succeeds in pushing through this policy, then we are doomed. I would wish to inform us colleagues that this policy was passed by the rightful authority, and that is cabinet. It's now at implementation level. The earliest that we get to comprehend, accept, and adjust to the requirements of the policy, the better for us. What happens if I've already graduated? We are cognizant of that, and the policies do not apply retrospectively, but rather, colleagues, I request kindly that we become sober and respect each other. When we start saying nonsense, when we start using abusive language, when we are medical people, you are merely telling me that I have wasted my time to be here and provide these clarities. And I can assure us that arrogance is not going to take us anywhere. So if a person has already graduated, we are cognizant of that fact, and there are going to be provisions on how the policy will apply to those category of people and how it will apply to the people that are still undergoing or undertaking training. So for now, I will kindly request that you allow me stop here for now and take any questions and provide clarities where there is need for. But I kindly request that we exercise restraint and debate objectively and maturely. I will not tolerate to take any abuses because that is not civilization. Thank you. I'm back to you, Amon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ronnie, for that elaborate explanation. Before I move on, had Carrie and Aria requested members that here we are not here to express emotionally and express any abuses. We are professionals in the medical field, and let's respect one another. Remember, I put that comment, and one person commented back poorly, but if you express such kind of mannerism on such a platform, then really you're not ready to listen in. We are listening in from one another, and it's a dialogue. Dr. Ronnie, before I open up to the rest of the members on the platform, I had there are a few, like two major concerns that I would like you to maybe clarify on. First of all, in the document, in the policy, there is where it states that it is for the continuing students that they will continue. Those ones that were enrolled according to the standards that were there by then, they will continue their program. So does that mean that the policy won't affect people?
Simon, you're breaking, sir.
Studying medicine, like already enrolled in, and when is it going to begin? Concerns, learn this is also
Amon, we are not able to hear.
I don't know how sorry, I don't know whether I'm heard now. Am I being heard?
Now you're very audible. You can go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Ronnie had two major concerns, as I had said. One was when is this policy going to start being effected, and to which people is it going to start with? Because on the page 103, it says that people that who were already enrolled according to the standards that were existing by that time will continue their program according to what existed. So does it mean that it is going to affect the people that are already enrolled? And another thing, the people that graduated also were asking already, but that are waiting internship, how is it also going to be on their side? Then the other thing is, you said it is already launched and it is on implementation already. I would like that you maybe first give us clarity on that, then we receive other questions from the rest of the members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amon. Two things. Policies do not apply retrospectively, meaning that we cannot expect people that have been graduated already to go back and graduate. No, but rather at whatever point in time they are, the policy is going to start in August 2026. And there are provisions that have been made for all the different categories of people to ensure that the policy refines that whole entire cycle of their training. As opposed to the previous or the current lot of medical interns that will not be subjected to formative assessments, the 2026-2027 lot will be subjected to those assessments that I've mentioned because they are provided for in the policy, and the policy takes effect on the 1st or 3rd of August when we will be deploying the next lot of medical interns.
Okay, so does it mean that the people that are doing their final exams right now will not be allowed to graduate, but rather be deployed first and complete internship
Absolutely.
in August, then join later? Okay. Members, I think you have gotten the clarity that all of us have been asking. I would like to request Raf to take over the moderation and give the different people that have questions, and then also comments that from our members in the House, Fumi and Uma. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amo.
All right. Thank you, Amon. Thank you, Doctor, for clarifying a bit. Now, we do have a few questions before my co-moderator Nora takes up the rest of the questions from the students. The one of the key questions was for the foreign students, because they needed to understand where they lay in all of this. Maybe well knowing that their plans were to complete from here and maybe do internship back in their home country, or vice versa. What is that for them? And then the second is that you did identify the problem of people lying redundant after school but before internship while undeployed. We're asking how this new policy solves that, yet it creates an extra level of barrier and also cripples you in such a way that now you don't have a degree and you can't branch anywhere. Just needed a bit of clarification for those two before my co-moderator Nora takes on the rest of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Foreign students will have to abide by the principles of the land. If you come to training, if you go to Rome, you behave like the Romans. If you come to Uganda and the principle of education and training for health dictates that before you graduate, you do internship, and that is the requirement, you abide by that. So that is the new requirement for education and training for health in Uganda. And if you're going to pursue a medical degree in Uganda, that's what will be required of you. So this handles that as well. For those that have trained from out of the country and they are returning for medical internship, there is a provision for them at which level they enter into the whole entire education and training cycle. What I'll kind of request all of us to do is to go and read that document. It's a huge document of about 350 pages. Make sure that you look out for the different sections that concern your questions. There are statements that have been made generically as policies. They have been explained in a standard on what exactly will be expected of each and every one of us, with clear roles or responsibilities, and provisions have been made to enforce those standards that have been made to ensure that we are able to achieve the objective of the policy. And then For the waiting of medical interns, I already alluded to this, that the policy requires the Minister of Health to open up more medical internship and training centers and equipping them to ensure that they are able to prepare a medical intern into the healthcare provider that we so desire to have on the Ugandan market and on the international market. So we will now see more people being deployed as opposed to where we were having challenges because we had only 74 internship training centers and the numbers were bigger than we could accommodate. And if we took in everyone, because a case in point is the current internship here, where we had 2,245 people deployed in only 74 internship training centers. Each one of you can bear with me that if you find more than 30 interns in a general hospital, a regional referral hospital, chances that they are having opportunities at doing the practical aspects of healthcare with the patients in those hospitals are very minimal. And the lower the exposure at patients who are our learning environment, our learning platforms, the less that we learn. This answers the concern that interns are over-engaged and they are exhausted. That is you do not expect to become a soldier without training. The process of molding a medical doctor, the process of molding a midwife is through modeling what a doctor does, what a soldier does, what a midwife does. That is the process of molding this practitioner, so that at the end of the day, you get a practitioner that performs the same or even better than those that were modeling them or molding them. So there is no any other alternative that you can train or that you can practically train a healthcare provider without exposing them to patient case scenarios. Thank you.
You can't do that with bogus policies.
People, let us maintain civility in this conversation.
Ralph and colleagues here, I want to warn us.
Yes, please.
I want to warn us. We are doctors in training, we are nurses in training, we are pharmacists in training, we are midwives in training. Right now, whatever you're saying is being recorded. You never know.
Members, order, please. Let's maintain calm. Let's maintain civility.
You never know where your behavior will lead you. You never know where your behavior will lead you. I'll give you a simple example. In the year 2022-2023, we had an altercation with medical interns that hurled insults at the leadership of the Ministry of Health. And some people were flagged for that misbehavior. And as fate would have it, the same people that they hurled insults at were the same people that were sitting on interview panels that were judging of whether they should take up jobs or not. What would you expect of a person that knows your behavior of the way we are behaving here now at the time when you are at your bridge of crossing over from unemployment into employment? Let us be very careful with what we say, because all of us
don't scare us. Let's give our proper thought of our mind. Don't scare us. Let's be open and let's talk. If you have come here to scare us, then that's not important. Don't expect to be such a thing and expect us to be cool. Let people express themselves in the way they feel like. Please be able to handle people's emotion. Don't be so emotional. You get it? It's not important. You have emotional intelligence and read us. Don't think this is what you're bringing to us is something easy to handle. You get it, my guy.
I'm requesting the moderator to mute somebody, please.
Okay, I would like the host to help us mute.
Yes, whoever is a host, please mute people, please.
Someone can give me hosting.
Amon, can I make a submission?
Doctor, this would have worked better if you had maintained the facilitation for the interns. Otherwise,
Moderator, please
we know
mute everyone and
Yes.
do not allow anyone to unmute themselves.
Facilitation is the problem. They should maintain our facilitation. Then the rest will be okay.
Who is hosting this meeting?
Can I speak, please?
Request for before we speak, before we go on, we are requesting for the to be a co-host to mute those ones, because here we are expecting, let's all listen in and control a feeling, but don't disrespect and come and we express it like this. It's respect here.
Dr. Amon, I have a question. This is Dr.
Let's
Sugar.
wait on. Let's wait on. Let's wait on. Okay, I would like to request Dr. Frank to also kindly give a submission on this matter. Then we shall also have a president. Then we shall welcome a few questions. But please, let's stay in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amon. I'm going to be very brief. Thank you very much, Dr. Rodney, for honoring this invite. And I wish we had more of such meetings. That is one. Two, I am a little bit shocked that you are saying my predecessors participated in these meetings and none has whispered in my ear that they did. I will cross-check that. Three, and I have no reason to doubt you, but I'll cross-check with my predecessors, and I know them. It is Dr. Swata, Dr. Naku, Dr. Ledo, Dr. Idro, Dr. Obuku. We can go back. Dr. Biso, I can ask all of them to see who participated and read from their notes that they made during those meetings. Because usually when we participate in these consultative meetings, at least we take personal notes, and occasionally drafts are shared. I will get from them and I will answer that. Third, and finally, in my opinion, and I wish I am wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but still let me say it out. You have made the right diagnosis. Okay, we are looking at a hernia. You see, it is a swelling in the inguinal canal. It is reducible. It moves from medial to lateral. Lateral to medial, and so on and so forth. But then for the prescription, you have said, let us do an appendicectomy. I do not think that the prescriptions made will solve the problems that have been highlighted, very well highlighted. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Can I respond?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Dr. Frank, thank you so very much for making time to be on this call. It's very important. And I love it when we have such engagements, because then it becomes very good for us to reference such engagements as constructive interactions that are seeking to disseminate the principles of this policy. Yes, you're wondering whether your predecessors consented to this policy. Yes, they did, and they are on record and they were minuted. But off this call, we will be able to share, and you can as well consult with them. I'll be able to give you the details of who attended and which meetings they attended. If they attended and perhaps they did not appreciate the principles that were being presented in the policy, then that is really unfortunate. But you cannot attribute failures on an individual or representative of an institution on the whole entire process. The process was seeking to be as transparent, consultative as possible, and ensure that it delivered a product that was agreeable to the wider population. On the aspect of misdiagnosis or appropriate diagnosis and inappropriate intervention, I think that is really subjective, Dr. Frank, and I would kindly request that you take some time to read that policy exhaustively. Look at the preamble, look at the body of that policy, what the premises of that policy were, and what it was seeking to cure, and what it is calling into action as mechanisms of bringing all the key stakeholders in facilitating the life cycle of education and training of a healthcare provider in this country. Perhaps maybe that's when you'll be able to appreciate what we're talking about. And you will perhaps appreciate the principles, especially of the integrated and collaborative implementation of certain principles like the entry requirements, the minimum entry requirements into universities and other tertiary training institutions. And then you look at what the roles and responsibilities on the universities are during formative training, what the roles and responsibilities of the Minister of Health will be during internship, and thereafter what government will be responsible for, what guardians will be responsible for, what trainees will be responsible for. And all these principles have got to be read together and not in isolation. Let's not go in and interest ourselves on only just medical internship. Read from the preamble, go to the policy that is giving generic statements, look at the generic statement in the policy and the standard to which it relates, and thereafter end up by reading the guideline principle that has been prescribed to implement and enforce those principles.
Please.
Perhaps that's how, and that's when we'll be able to appreciate this policy, and we'll be able to agree in principle that yes. And one thing that I need to inform us colleagues about is documents are not cast in stone. The documents or principles that are made in any country have a lifetime. This law or this policy was made, and it's going to be applied for 5 years or 10 years, whichever is going to be prescribed, but it will come a time when it will be required to be reviewed. And at the time when it will be required to be reviewed, maybe then that's when we shall be able to gather all our feedback and make sure that we participate in the space where the review will be happening, such that we are able to improve the principles that we feel we do not agree with, as long as they do not contravene with the policy or the policy position of government. Thank you. I'm back to you, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ronnie. So some questions that are going to be coming in while listening to Jacob. Jacob, are you there? Jacob, I'll be asking you. We'll have your question.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much, members. Thank you so much, Dr. Ron, for your time and for your explanation. This has been long overdue. How I wish this happens quite often to avoid the communication gap. Now, mine are a few things, and I'll be a little bit more detailed. One, I would like to tell you really that the consultations were inadequate. In my file in Fume, I have not seen anything that talks about this policy. The only thing I saw is that there was a committee assigned by Parliament to do this policy. Now, starting from where you started from, Doctor, we cannot generalize medical training with other trainings. We accept this is a special training and it cannot be generalized. If a Minister of Education generalized this training with others, that is a mistake that we really need to look into, because the provisions for these trainings are special, like they have been. I also like to note to you that the policy does not specify how much amount each intern will be getting as facilitation, as the states. The amount is not specified, and these are some of the things that we are pushing for, so that people stop changing this amount day and night. Today, these interns are paid 1 million, next 500, another one 0 shillings. We wanted a specific amount, so that whoever decides to do internship knows that I'm entitled to this amount. Thirdly, there are specifics you talked about, Doctor. These ones we need to get time and we go into their details, because as a person who is doing internship, leading people in 73 sites, getting feedback from 73 sites, they are very, very hard policies that to implement. They sound nice on paper, but they are going to be very, very hard policies to implement. Those ones we really need to get time, we sit and deliberate them more on them more. Then, now, Doctor, finally, I would like also to ask a few questions. Number one, what about me who does medicine, but I don't want to practice? I want to do my MBCB, my course. After it, I do a management course and I go into management. After it, I do my master's of physiology and I go into lecturing. Why should you force me to do internship? Why should you force me into that extra 1 year? Because with that extra 1 year, one would have earned some good money to help him recover and take care of his relatives. Secondly, Doctor, what happens to the contracts people signed with their universities? Because per every admission letter everyone has, the admission letter is specific about the amount of time you are spending in that course and the award you are going to get at the end of that time. On which grounds are we really going to force people go beyond that contract? Because I could tell you, for example, if medicine is a 7-year course, I can't allow my son to do it. But because it was a 5-year course, my son has done it. Now, at the end of the 5th year, you are telling me that there is another extra time that my child is supposed to cover before he travels to USA with his license. So, Doctor, I would also like to know how the contracts will be handled. Now, lastly, I would also like to comment about the redistribution of numbers that you have talked about. It is really high time that we thought about the mental state of people's children. However much the accommodation issues, even where the hospitals can't accommodate interns are still working like donkeys. Like donkeys. People move along the road when they have lost themselves, almost falling in vehicles because of the exhaustion. Now, as we think of diffusing to distribute fewer interns into centers, please let us also be mindful of the workload. I have gone through this whole policy. There is nowhere they specify which amount an intern should work. It is not there. So we are going to face consultants who are currently even forcing people to work 36 hours without rest. And of course, you know, if you don't work them, you fail. And now that somebody doesn't even have a document, it becomes worse. So, Doctor, please, with those few remarks, I have a lot that we really need to discuss in this. That's why I wanted to be in your office sometime back, before this thing is actually practically implemented. Some of the things are good, but some are really toxic, Doctor. That is a factor that we need to accept. So let me stop there. I believe we shall have more engagements about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jacob. And I'm going to kindly request that you allow me put a question to Dr. Frank Asimwe. Dr. Frank Asimwe, you did your medical internship at Kagando. Could you just briefly share your experience with our dear interns and students on this call, what it took you to become the astute senior consultant surgeon that you are?
No, doctor, this is Dr. Jacob Mwanda, the current president of Intern.
Yes, I know. That's why I addressed you as Jacob, but I'm seeking Dr. Frank Asimwe to profile for us what it took him to train to be what the to become the senior consultant surgeon he is. I just needed him to share with us his experience.
Sorry, I was struggling to unmute. Thank you so much. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes, we can hear you.
Before Dr. Ronnie leaves, because he's handling Ebola, I would just want to make two requests. One, that he promises that he will engage us again, this group or even larger, but he also allow representatives of the medical students, of interns, and Uganda Medical Association to have audience with him and maybe other Ministry of Health officials as early as next week so that we can talk. The reason I'm asking that is because I would like the bigger group of the medical students to talk a little bit more, because the subsequent meetings, if God allows us and they are permitted, will be with us, the leaders. And that's why I didn't want to spend a lot of time. Just those two requests. One, for me to be able to gain experience in Kagando, I was graduated, not Kutikirwa, not this business of putting the hat, because I finished my MBCHB in August 1996. I was graduated in February 1997. I started my internship in November 1996. But because I had satisfied the requirements for the award of an MBCHB, the Uganda Medical and Dental Practitioners Council could therefore give me a provisional license. And because I had that provisional license, I could therefore be given responsibilities. I will tell you that my two supervisors, Dr. Andrew Hodges and Dr. Francis Owori, would take me through a SDN section in the first case. Then they would assist me in the second two cases. And on the fourth and the fifth, they would only be in the room, and the rest is history. By the time I came out of Kagando, I had done over 800 operations. How was I able to do those operations? Because I was licensed, I was qualified, my qualification was not in doubt. I was licensed, therefore I could take responsibility, and so I was given that responsibility and was able to hone my skill. Dr. Ronnie, in case you consulted anyone who has ever done internship, they should have told you that there is no supervisor who will give that level of responsibility to someone whom the university has not yet released. And I want that to sink in. So if my colleagues sat in that meeting, they misadvised you. Third, I was given a salary. That means I woke up in the morning and went down to the ward and left the ward at midnight or at 10 o'clock, not worried of where is my meal going to come from. Because my salary came on a regular basis, I was therefore able to concentrate on my medical practice. Dr. Ronnie, the people whom
Doctor, I think we've lost you. Could you please carry on?
Please, you have muted me. At what point did you mute me? I don't know where I went silent. Where did I go silent? I need to repeat what I was saying. Amon, at what point did I go silent?
You had just finished describing how the internship was, and
okay.
On the salary issue, Doctor, we are talking about the salary.
All right. Okay, let's talk about salary. Please, people, keep quiet. Hey, let me talk. Now, there is no way you can expect an intern to leave his home by 6, be on the ward by 8, stay until midnight, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., work through the night, do a 24-hour shift, do a 36-hour shift without knowing where he's going to get his livelihood, Dr. Ronnie. If you called people to consult, then you fire those people and ask them to return any allowances you gave them. They advise you wrongly. There is no way you can get these interns. They handle 70% of all the healthcare provision. Dr. Ronnie, I've been a doctor for 30 years. I've supervised interns. I have been an intern myself. We are the first soldiers. We're the ones who see the first patients. There is no way you cannot throw the responsibility on the parents. When you throw it on the parents, you're throwing it to the doctor. That doctor is going to get money from patients. Or if he's a Christian like me, he's going to faint while seeing patients because he has not had a meal. That doctor will have nowhere to sleep because he has no rent. There is no way you can run away from the responsibility of paying the 2.5 million, which is actually supposed to be 4 million. When Anita Among is eating money in billions, please, let's wake up. I don't know who you gathered to give you advice on this policy. Please get that list and tell them to return the money which you gave them as sitting allowance because they ill-advised you on just those 2 accounts. And the third account, Dr. Jacob has told you, there is no curriculum which is changed just because Ministry of Health wants by a flip of a coin. If the curriculum is going to change from 5 years to 6 years, it must go through the rigors of changing the curriculum. There must be justification. It must be deliberated on by the university councils, by the Senate, passed by each university, and then submitted to the National Council of Higher Education after justifying why then the curriculum is changed. I have it on record, Dr. Ronnie. Don't tell me about evidence. I know how signatures are obtained. I am an old man. I'm 54 years old. I know you can generate a list, call Asimwe, sign here, here is your envelope. Asimwe Jacob, sign here, here is your envelope. So don't tell me you have evidence that people attended. You are trying to blackmail Dr. Ruswata or Dr. Naku. Please, there is no university which changes its curriculum just like that, from 5 years to 6 years. So you have got it wrong on all those grounds. The curriculum cannot change 6 years. There is no justification. In Uganda, we need doctors. Why are you crying about numbers? And you're hiding behind quality. And you have said in the last 4 years, we only have 8 people who have failed. Are you shocked? When I began university, we were 52. We graduated 42. 10 failed along the way. Is that news? If out of the 5 years, the 4 years you are talking about, only 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're not even filling 2 hands. Only 8 have failed to finish internship. Is that new? Dr. Ronnie, I don't know where you did your internship from. People fail internship, it's okay. And what you're proposing is just doing an amputation of the arm, having diagnosed a hernia. Please, so let me recount. You cannot just change the curriculum just like that.
Two, you cannot have people who have not been passed by university given the title doctor licensed by the UMDPC. UMDPC licenses doctors, DR. You must have a transcript. You must have satisfied the requirements for the award. And therefore, if you have not done internship, they give you a provisional license. If you have done internship, they give you full licensure. So that means you're going to twist UMDPC to license medical students. Where will that end? That has never happened. Now, once you have that hurdle to jump over, now you bring hungry people whose livelihood you don't know and you don't care. And Dr. Ronnie, we're all Ugandans. I have had the unfortunate opportunity to be sick. I had an accident. My head was switched by an intern. My doctorate examination was done by an intern. God forbid it could be you, it could be your son, it could be your grandmother, it could be your relative who is being taken care of by this unpaid intern. So please stop deceiving us. I'm sorry, I'm going to speak very bluntly because me, I don't know how to tell lies. You were not advised well, you did not consult. If you consulted, I hope I'm wrong, we consulted, please call all those people you consulted, let them refund their money. And I am glad you have said this policy can be readjusted. Call us for another discussion, call the stakeholders. The pharmacists did not participate, I have it on record. The deans of the medical schools did not participate, I have it on record. National Council of Higher Education did not participate. You can produce all the list you want. I have my own intelligence, my friend. I know who participated and who didn't participate. UMDPC did not participate. The medical students, they are here, they did not participate. Uganda Medical Association, what are you talking about? I was vice president, Dr. Ruswata, for 2 years. Before that, I was on the NDC. I never heard about that. Before that, I was chair welfare. I never heard about it. Before that, I was chair ethics. I have been on Uganda Medical Association for the last 10 years. I have never had you call us. So if one of us sneaked and participated in the meeting, or if someone or one of us sneaked and got a list and signed for an allowance and allowed to be on a list, we are going to find out. And we are going to name them and shame them for selling Uganda Medical Association, for throwing our children under the bus. Dr. Ronnie, I've got a child in first year. You may be having a child in third year. These are the guys you are throwing under the bus. We're not talking about Palestinians. We're not talking about New Zealanders. We're talking about Ugandan children. We're talking about Ugandan patients who are our relatives. This policy is dead on arrival. It is unimplementable because it makes zero sense. I have read that bloody thing, 300 pages. I have read it all. From the word go, you talk about what an intern is. And when you come to describe internship, you flip. Right from the word go, I will share with you the controversies I've seen in that document. It is dead on arrival. It is unimplementable. Finally, let me calm down. You know, they say might is right. Because now you're a commissioner, because now you sit in the Ministry of Health, you've passed a policy, you think it will be implemented. My friend, might is not always right. You are dead wrong. And because for us, we are weak, but we are right. Time will exonerate us. Time will exonerate us. You are here threatening these children for speaking out. Please, be humble. Be humble. You're not going to be a commissioner forever. I am not going to be president of Uganda Medical Association forever. Let us do the right thing. Something which someone will meet you and say, that was good. But if because you are a commissioner, you are here, you are threatening us, it's okay. It is fine. But please invite us in your office. We'll come very humbly as we have been. I was avoiding to speak so many things, but now this guy has tickled me. But that is how you get an intern to take off. You don't bring someone and you call him a medical student. And I know the genesis of all these things. Did I tell you that finally? I will spare you that. Please, you don't throw medical students under the bus. If you people cannot plan for the numbers that are coming out, there are people who are capable of making these plans. These students are not many. These doctors are not many. There are not many. Look at the doctor-patient ratio before you begin closing the door of doctors to come and join the space. I submit.